the war America couldn't win. It began in the jungles of Southeast Asia, a war that would scar a generation and divide a nation, the Vietnam War. In the 1950s, Vietnam was a land caught between empires. The French had fallen, and a new force was rising. The communist movement led by Ho Chi Minh. For him, it was a fight for independence. For the United States, it was the next battlefield in the global fight against communism. The world was in the grip of the Cold War, and America feared that if Vietnam fell, all of Asia would follow the domino theory. So, advisors became soldiers, and by the mid-1960s, more than 500,000 American troops were deep in the Vietnamese jungle. But this was no ordinary war. The enemy was everywhere and nowhere. The Viet Cong moved silently through tunnels, jungles, and villages. They struck at night, vanished by dawn, and used the terrain as their greatest weapon. The American military had technology, helicopters, and firepower, but in the dense, humid forests, all that power meant nothing. Soldiers couldn't see their enemy, only the jungle closing in around them. Villages turned into battlegrounds. Napalm turned forests into fire. Helicopters filled the skies while the world watched, live on television. For the first time, the horrors of war reached living rooms across America. The My Lai Massacre, Agent Orange, the Tet Offensive. Each name added another wound to America's conscience. By 1968, it was clear this war was unlike any other. The Viet Cong launched surprise attacks on dozens of cities during the Tet holiday, shocking American leaders and proving the war was far from over. At home, protests erupted. Young men burned draft cards. Mothers demanded answers. The nation's trust in its government began to collapse. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, the cost was devastating. Millions of Vietnamese civilians were caught in the crossfire, their villages destroyed, their lives shattered. By 1973, America began to pull out. 2 years later, Saigon fell. North and South Vietnam were reunified under communist rule. 58,000 American soldiers never returned home. Over 2 million Vietnamese lives were lost. And though the war ended, its echoes still haunt the forests, rivers, and memories of those who survived. The Vietnam War was not just a military conflict, it was a psychological one, a lesson written in blood, that power alone cannot conquer ideology. Today, decades later, the jungles have grown back, and the land has healed. But the ghosts of the war, the unseen, the unheard, the untold, still whisper through the rain-soaked trees of Vietnam.